Hello everyone, Fanta here. You are watching FANTAVISION, and today, besides an overactive, crazy, hyper intro, sort of, we are going to discuss how to properly collect retro video games. What do I mean by that? I always like to say, what do you mean by that? I don't know why. I mean that a lot of people think that retro collecting is just about buying old games from retro stores. And I would argue that that is probably the worst way to buy retro video games. Why? Because those are the most expensive places to buy them. And now I know Scott the Woz literally just made a video about this not too long ago, but he kind of just said there is no way to start collecting, that it was a silly question, and discussed how he got into it and how he built his collection. Now, I'm of course going to do sort of the same thing and talk about how I got to my collection, but I also want to give some real tips on how to get to this sort of insane mess. Now, I will agree that it is funny when people ask, how do I start collecting? Because, do you really want to? I mean, really think about it. Do you want to have a retro video game collection? Because it is a slippery slope to having an insane, massive thing like I have here of games that you'll probably play once or twice, but they really look good on the shelf. And you can really not part ways with most of it. You kind of get stuck in this mindset of, yeah, but my wall looks awesome and I don't want to sell any of it. And you get to sort of hoarder status where you've got, 7, 8 GameCubes. I don't even want to count how many Game Boys I have. I have too many things. So, first ask yourself, do you have the space? Second, do you have the self-control to only collect for the system that you're thinking of collecting for? Because a lot of people will start collecting thinking that they're only going to collect for one console. I know I never did. I just was going to buy everything. I didn't really focus on Nintendo. I didn't focus on PlayStation. I didn't focus on any sort of system in particular. I just wanted to buy everything I did not own, which turned out to be a lot. And you also want to ask yourself, how much time do I have and want to put into this? Now, if you collect like I collected, which is the cheapest but most difficult way, you will be able to get a lot for a lot less than you normally would, because Scott just talked about how he would go into retro game stores, buy games off of eBay, stuff like that. I don't recommend that. Now, if you really, really want a specific game and you don't want to wait for it, I mean, that is an option, but if you have looked at eBay prices and everything recently, it is fucking insane. Holy shit. Game prices have gone through the roof. Now, this could be a temporary thing that has to do with everybody being stuck inside. And for your sake, I hope so. For my sake, I hope not, because I do have a lot of doubles and I do need to start selling some. But everything is through the roof right now, and unless you're out game hunting at the places I'm going to recommend, you're going to be paying top dollar. Now, if I don't recommend eBay and I don't recommend retro game stores, where do I recommend that you buy video games? Because it seems like I've already narrowed down all the options to nothing, to a lot of people, I'm sure. But remember, Goodwill exists, and it doesn't just sell used clothes and clearance items from stores that nobody wants. No, Goodwill, Salvation Army, any of those kind of, even the hole-in-the-wall thrift shops, those are the best places to buy video games, because I mean, yes, a lot of people do hunt there, but they continually get stock of games that people are just throwing at them. They don't know the value of them. They don't care. They just want them out. A lot of people, when they move, including myself, will just get rid of things without thinking about them because they don't want to move them. They are sick of moving. They just want to be in the next location. They want to be all moved in and living life again. Now, that's where you come in, because you will go to these places, swoop in, and pick up all these games for dirt cheap. There are some Goodwills, of course, that will mark games up to their eBay value because they're a bunch of bastards, but a lot of them do not. And a lot of them will just price it for a couple of bucks, and they don't do any research at all, and those are the best Goodwills. Salvation Army is about the same. They do the same sort of thing. It really depends on the location. Map out all the different locations that you can and just go out. It is going to take a long time to hit all these different places. You are going to have to ask people if they have video games somewhere else. A lot of these store layouts are completely different at every location, and because of that, you're going to be doing a lot of walking. So, hey, if you've been looking to lose weight and collect video games, you can do both at the same time. Speaking of losing weight and all of that sort of thing, I don't even know if these exist right now, but garage sales. Garage sales are where probably 90% of all of my games have come from, besides, oh no, there's probably another chunk. Yeah, 90% have come from garage sales, because garage sales, there's just so many people, and a lot of them are moving, and a lot of them are just trying to get rid of stuff that they think are junk. And yes, there are definitely quite a few people out there that think they're in Pawn Stars and they can sell you an NES copy of Super Mario. I actually have it right here. Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt for $100, because that show is stupid. But many, many, many places are just trying to get rid of things. Or, this is even better, are when they are not planning on buying things. When you go to a garage sale and you ask them if they have any video games that they want to sell, usually you're catching these people off guard because they have nothing out. And they'll just go inside and look. And if they know they have something, they'll bring it out to you. They don't know what to price it. They haven't done any research. They haven't looked it up. Now you could be thinking, you're screwing these people over, Fanta. These people don't care. They don't care at all. They didn't even know they had video games, I'm sure. They thought about, oh, I do have video games. Oh, shit. Let me go find those. And they dig them out of an attic, or they pull them off a shelf in the garage. They're just sitting there collecting dust. And if you are a game collector, I would argue, hey, you know what? It's going to a better home that it's going to collect dust in. Now, some people are saying that Craigslist is dead, and I agree. Craigslist is a website that used to exist for people that actually wanted to buy things off of other people, but now it's just flooded with stores and pawn shops and all these other places that don't want to pay for real advertising and instead do it in Craigslist for free. And everybody else on there doesn't have a car, so you have to drive out to where they live, and all of their games are marked up to eBay value. Now, sometimes you can find some stuff on Craigslist, but most of the time, you're going to be finding just junk at terrible prices. I've seen so many worse things on Craigslist, condition-wise, than I have at Goodwill. That doesn't make any sense. This is still the original owner. This is the original owner has dumped it off at a location that shouldn't care, throws it in a box and throws it on the shelf, but somehow these are still in better condition. Now, there are places like Let Go and OfferUp and stuff like that. You can use their apps on your phone. They're completely free, but I have had mixed luck with those. I know my buddy White has had pretty damn good luck, but yeah, not me. I have not had very good luck on those things, and like I said, garage sales and Goodwill. There's a lot of stuff from Goodwill as well, but mostly garage sales. If you are going out and doing all this, or even if you're buying online, what is the best way to tell how much a game is worth? Because that's another giant thing that you need to know, is the value of the game before you go out game hunting, before you buy something off of eBay. And that's very easy. You go to pricecharting.com. You can look at the games. You can look at the trend that is going right now. I mean, if you go on the website, you can see that all these games are selling for way more than they used to. I mean, holy shit, it's insane. This is a great way to look at it. Also, most of these things are, I don't know if you've noticed, they're eBay links. That's right. So another good way to figure out what a game's worth is you go to eBay, typed in, you know, the game that you're looking for, and then check off sold listings, and you can see what games are actually selling for. And just kind of take a baseline average of what they're selling for. That's the value of the game. Now you've got that number in your head, and so when you go out and game hunt, you can see how much of a discount you're really getting for the legwork you're putting in, and you can also, if you get doubles of stuff or you find some other stuff out there that you own already, you pick it up and you resell it. Now, a lot of people hate resellers. I'm one of those people that hates people that are only going out to resell, but I would argue if you are a collector and you happen to find other games out there that are worth quite a bit and they're selling for dirt cheap, that's a great way to support your new hobby, because game collecting ain't cheap. I mean, that's a lot of money back there. But because I picked up a lot of doubles, I resold some stuff that I owned already. I don't know if I broke even, probably not, but it definitely did help me in the long run, and it helped me collect for a lot cheaper than it normally would have been. Another thing I want to talk about is bundles. Now, a lot of you are going to own a console already when you're collecting, and you don't need another one, but due to the bundle pricing of whatever package you're buying off of somebody or a store, if you look at all the different games and you can kind of tell, oh, well, all the games are worth more than the bundle itself, or I'm going to get a good deal if I'm bundling them all together, don't be afraid to have multiple consoles. I mean, of course, this is coming from the guy with 7 GameCubes. Maybe you shouldn't listen to me. But if you buy lots of bundles, the GameCube is never going to go down in value. There's no more GameCubes being made. I've looked at the trends. It's all trending up right now. And I got most of those GameCubes for probably $5 to $10 considering how much the bundle was. So the bundle was like $20, but it came with a GameCube, came with a bunch of controllers. You're always going to want more controllers because when they break, you go on eBay and they're like $20 a pop. And a lot of them came with the essential games. And because they're just trying to sell everything right there and then, they won't piece it out. But don't let that scare you away. If you're spending $30, let's say, on a bundle, and includes a GameCube, a couple of controllers, Mario Kart, Mario Sunshine, and a bunch of other junk GameCube games, that's a hell of a deal. That's crazy. Right now, I think GameCubes are selling on eBay for like $50. Those controllers, $20 a pop. I mean, even if you don't need that extra console, you can easily flip that later, or you can sell it to a friend at the friend discount, or just give it away. I mean, I've given away like 3 or 4 PS2s to my friends. I've just kind of handed them out because at one point in my car, whenever I braked, games would slide from underneath my seats, and I found a couple of PS2s in there. So really, the takeaway from how to collect, before I get into the story of how I got my collection going, just know how much of a time sink it is. Just know that you're going to be getting a lot more than you bargained for, and know that you can find games for a lot cheaper than you'll see on eBay. But it definitely does take work. If you don't want to put any work in and you just want to buy it off of eBay, you're going to get a whole lot less games for how much you're spending, but you're just going to be getting the games that you want. So it's really how you want to collect, for sure. Now, how I got into collecting is because I grew up with a Nintendo 64 and I never got rid of it. I just had that system forever, and whenever I got a new system, I didn't get rid of the old one. Now, I did trade in a bunch of games when I was a kid because I was stupid, and I lost a lot of games that I've now recollected over the years, obviously. But I have always kind of loved all of the generations back. I've been playing N64 since it came out. Since I had my N64, I never just completely dropped it. I would always go back to my old consoles. I always had that interest in retro games. And because of that, I was like, I have never owned an NES game. And I love the look of these cartridges. I love just the old school feel of the controllers. And I could emulate everything, but it's different. Emulating and playing the real console, it's just so much different. When you're emulating, you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But when you're playing it on the console and you've got the cartridge that you've kerchunked in, I don't know, there's just a different feeling to it. It feels like you've transported back into that era, especially when I used to have a wood panel TV for all these games. I'm kind of sad I got rid of that. But, that really transported me back with that wood panel thing. So because I never lost interest in retro, I just would go to the local Play and Trade, way back when Play and Trade existed here, and I'd come in with like pocket change and just walk out with a stack of N64 games. Now, they weren't amazing N64 games. A lot of them are just junk. They're definitely worth more than what I paid for them back then, but I was just having so much fun trying new games on this older system, and because of that, I wanted to start game hunting more. I actually saw the channel Craigslist Game Finds before I was a part of the channel, and I saw this guy finding all these crazy deals, yard sale, game hunting, and I was like, holy shit, I want to start doing this. So I started looking at Craigslist, and I was starting to do deals, and I went on Craigslist, and the guy selling the game was my now friend. That's crazy how shit sometimes works out like that. So he invited me to join him to go yard sale game hunting, so I did. And we just yard sale game hunted for like 3 or 4 years, and now I have this insane, crazy collection. Another thing that really inspired me to want to go game hunting and collecting again was the Angry Video Game Nerd, because I've been watching that channel for a really long time, and I always watched him play these games, and even though there was lots of shitty ones, I was really enthralled by just, again, all of the retro games that I've never gotten a chance to play. And even though he said they were shitty, I'm like, I want to try it for myself, you know? And I tried emulators and it wasn't the same. So like I said, I just wanted that experience that brought me back to the past so I could experience it how the people did back then. It's like a history lesson, but fun. And really, the cool thing about game hunting, especially nowadays, is that there are a lot of different adapters that companies are creating that allow you to experience these games in higher definition. So this allows you to not have to go and buy a wood-paneled CRT like I did, and instead just buy one of these HDMI adapters or special consoles that allows you to upscale and play these games at almost a pixel-perfect, high-definition, non-stuttery way. And because of that, I would argue that retro games are even more enjoyable than ever. I mean, you can get these HDMI adapters for GameCubes, N64s. I believe there's like these crazy, now they're expensive, but there are different things you can get for like the NES and Super Nintendo. There's Frame Meisters, there's different HD NES systems that they're making, and over time we're going to see even more of these things come out. Now, I don't think I would recommend the Retron 5 or anything like that. I've heard a lot of issues with those. I could be wrong. Maybe they're updated by now and they're a lot better. But back when I was game hunting regularly, those were things I'd avoid because I would just play it on the original hardware because it was more reliable and it wasn't going to have all these different issues. Another cool thing about retro games is that they've been coming out with these crazy classic mini systems, but I would still argue that it's not the same. I have played way more of the original systems than I have the minis, even though you can just put all the games on here. But then it feels like you're just emulating again. There's something to be said about having to clean the cartridge, kerchunk it in the system, flip it on, and just using the original NES controllers. There's just something about all that that really completes the experience. And that's the thing. Retro game hunting, it's not really a logical thing. It's just something that's sort of based on emotions and nostalgia. There's no reason for anyone to game collect for retro stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, there's not. You can emulate most of the stuff. Now, N64 and GameCube you can emulate too. N64 I could understand because it seems like, from what I can tell, that emulation is a pain in the ass. Maybe I've just been doing it wrong, but I don't know, it's just something that is incredibly satisfying, especially when you find a game you've been hunting for. You get this dopamine rush when you get a really good deal at a yard sale. And it's just so much fun to just chase that high of continually finding new games that you're interested in at really cheap prices. The haggling process of trying to get the games a little bit lower. All of it. It's just so much fun to do. And it was really an incredible hobby while I was still doing it. Now, since then, I've quit retro game hunting for a variety of reasons. Mainly time. I just don't have the time to do it anymore. But I don't regret the time I spent doing it. It was so much fun. And I hope this encourages you / helps you to do it yourself. Because, I mean, it was a fun and, because of how many doubles I found, not too expensive hobby. So hopefully all those tips have helped you if you are interested in retro game hunting. And if you've got any more questions, let me know down in the comments or in the Discord. And if I've missed too many, I'll just do a part 2 or something. I don't know. Maybe I can figure out how to do a part 2. But I guess if there's enough questions, there'll be a part 2. I don't know. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave a like down below if you guys like the video. Subscribe for more content. And as always, have a fantastic day. See you guys. I don't know if I was talking faster than normal, but I definitely felt like I was. Caffeine! Anyway, I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, retro games have been a huge part of my life since the very beginning. I mean, there's like baby photos of me as a little fat blob of a baby in a beanbag chair watching my brothers play Atari. I mean, I've been playing games and basically collecting games my entire life because, like I said, I didn't really resell a whole lot. Most of my PS2 games that I have now are the same PS2 games I had back then. Most of my N64 games are still in my collection. I just never thought it was a great idea to trade in video games because if I wanted to go back and play them, I knew it'd be more expensive, and I'd be sad that I didn't have it anymore. I mean, like the 360 games, all of them are pretty much the same I had already. I mean, if you look around this room, most of these things, I just like the original Game Boy Advance SP I used to have. I mean, I never got rid of it. I kind of held on to all of my gaming accessories and systems and games because I knew that at some point I would want to go back and play them again. So I would recommend you all do the same, encourage your friends to do the same, because I feel like the digital age is upon us. And over time, we've lost so many different things that I find really awesome about video games and kind of complete the experience. They're just kind of going away. Maybe I'll do a video about that.